The views and opinions expressed by the Loft Party podcast panel participants and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the Good Times of Good People company, the host, or its sponsors.
It's not getting it.
Welcome everybody out there in podcast land. The Good Times of Good People company proudly presents the Loft Party podcast, where it is always about good times, good people, and good talk. Now that you've received your invitation, the best way to let us know that you're in attendance is to download the party or become official by joining us on Facebook, subscribing on YouTube, iTunes Podcasts, or Google Play Podcasts. Good. Thanks for joining us. Grab a cocktail, light a cigar, or whatever you like to smoke. Share us with your friends, and make yourself at home. I'm your host and moderator, Rio, and let's introduce today's panel. Hey out there in podcast land, I'm your host, Rio, and welcome to the Loft Party Podcast, episode 78. So, what if you could remove one president and give his term to his predecessor? How would that have changed things? That was kind of my thought today, but normally at this time I would introduce you to today's panel, but actually I am dolo today. I may be joined, but at the time that I normally start recording for the podcast, we didn't have a panel today, and that's okay. Several people had some very legitimate things they had going on. So we're going to move right on to what am I drinking? And today I am drinking. All right, let me get my notes together. All right, so today I'm drinking a Negroni, very classic cocktail. It is 1 ounce of Rieger whiskey, Rieger gin, 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. You have an orange slice, and you combine all those ingredients in a rocks glass, stir, and you put a slice of orange in as the garnish. And that is what we are drinking today, and what I'm drinking today. And next, of course, now that we know what we're drinking, is what are we smoking? And today we are smoking an OLIVA Series V MELANIO Robusto. This is a blend of Sumatran seed wrapper grown in Ecuador, paired with a Nicaraguan tobacco. And of course, this combination isn't that common in the cigar world, and it's got quite a nice balance. The smoke itself is very silky, kind of sweet, and it does have some intense moments with toast and cedar. So, like I said, that's an Ecuadorian wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and filler, and for about $9.75, not a bad smoke. I do think we've featured this one on the show before, but sounded like a good one for today. So that moves us on to today's RIPs, and today we've got Robert Guillaume. That is TV's Benson. For any of you who remember Benson, and of course he was in several other things, but I think he was probably best known for TV's Benson. And we've got music legend Fats Domino that passed away. Coincidentally, they both passed away at 89, so, you know, of course, if you don't know who Fats Domino is, that's truly an old school legend. He was one of the original round draftees to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and You know, if you remember the show Happy Days, you know, I found my thrills on Blueberry Hill. That is who we're talking about today. So, with that said, of course, I don't want to leave this section with anything on a downer. So I did have some happy birthdays that I wanted to mention. And you know, oddly enough, the happy birthdays, one of the happy birthdays is Ivanka Trump, that I thought was pretty hilarious. She is 36 today. And I was just joined by the anonymous female. Say hello to everybody out there in podcast land.
Hey.
So our next happy birthday is the wrestler Edge. He's 44 today. I don't know if how many of you out there in podcast land are old school wrestling fans, but the wrestler Edge, he was quite popular for a while in WWE. We've also got Nia Long. She was an old school crush that you know, she was just recently in Empire last season. And she's 47 today. And last but not least, because there definitely were more, we've got the Fonz himself, Henry Winkler. He turned 72 today. So I definitely want to make sure that we got the RIPs and happy birthdays in. You know what we're drinking, you know what we're smoking, you know who's sitting in on the panel. And with all that, we'll be right back. Hey, you can search for the Loft Party Podcast on iTunes Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, and on our Good Times with Good People YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, tweet us on Twitter, and if you like the content we provide, donate to us on Patreon. www.patreon.com/LoftPartyPodcast. You can find all of our links below. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, we are back, and before we get too deep, let's play a quick party game. So, today being the day before Halloween, I decided to keep it very simple with the party game that we're going to play today. And today it is, what is the scariest film you've ever seen? So what do you think, anonymous female? What's the
scariest film I've ever seen?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably have to say, like when I was a kid, it was probably like Friday the 13th and Halloween, and probably Friday the 13th and Halloween.
Yeah.
When I got older, I would probably say the Blair Witch freaked me out quite a bit.
It's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Those are my exact answers.
Yeah, like I don't watch scary movies much anymore. It's just not entertaining to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, to me either. To tell you the
and I
truth.
have a very active imagination, so I end up like dreaming about them for months after I see them. So I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes they look good. I'm okay with like thrillers. I'm just not like horror. And,
actual gore, slasher.
Yeah, but just like when we were growing up, the original Friday the 13th. I mean, even now I have sleeping habits that I developed from seeing that movie when I was 8, 9. So, it just.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say those are probably my. The Exorcist was pretty. The first Exorcist was pretty freaky.
Yeah, The Exorcist and The Omen. Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember.
I don't know if I would consider either of those horror, but They definitely
No,
freaked me out.
Well, and I think The Exorcist freaked me out the most because I really don't like watching movies based on true stories because I know that it actually happened to someone, so it's possible to happen.
Right.
So I think that's really what freaked me out the most about The Exorcist. And you know, Friday the 13th and you know, it's just it plays on all of your fears. In the Woods Alone, you know, just crazy weird sounds in the middle of the night, you know, just all kinds of and Blair Witch, I mean, they did an incredible marketing campaign on that. They truly played to some crazy fears. You know, and it was at a time when ghost hunting was really popular. And fairly new to TV, so it was really and the way they shot it really.
That definitely lent to the fear factor for me for Blair Witch. It was, you know, and once again, I don't know if I was like scared, like jumping in my seat or whatever, but I definitely remember just being generally freaked out.
Blair Witch, like I watched that in a very dimly lit basement.
Bad idea.
And then I was by myself and every light was on. Like it just, there was really no sleeping that night.
Exactly. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it's funny because I want to say that I saw Blair Witch like earlier in the day, but
oh yeah, no,
maybe not matinee, but it was definitely earlier. And it wasn't a late movie or whatever, but yeah, it just hung on you.
No, I made the mistake. Oh, excuse me. I made the mistake of watching it at night, dimly lit basement, and then I was by myself. Everybody was like, "Bye."
Yeah.
So yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, I actually have to say all of yours were all of mine. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but with that, if anybody out there in podcast land wants to share, leave it in the comments. What's the scariest movie you ever saw? And with that, we'll be right back. Hey out there in podcast land, we would not be doing our duty if we didn't acknowledge the sponsors of the Loft Party Podcast, the Majestic Restaurant and Jazz Club, and the Majestic's Pendergast Club. The Majestic carries on Kansas City's tradition of great food and jazz. Let them show you why they are the classic Kansas City steakhouse experience. 931 Broadway, just 3 blocks from the Kansas City Convention Center. J. Rieger and Company, a Kansas City distillery. Whether whiskey, gin, or vodka, neat or on the rocks, J. Rieger, Kansas City, sipping good since 1887. C&P Construction, Kansas City's premier wood framers, 50 years of quality framing and craftsmanship. Just email david.cnpservice@gmail.com and start building something new today. And our friend and frequent guest, Lane Boland. Thank you all for all that you do.